You are being reprogrammed without realizing it. There is an invisible force controlling your mind. It decides what you desire, what you feel, what you believe is possible. This force has no face, but it's everywhere. In the phone you grab the moment you wake up. In the short videos you scroll through endlessly. In the notification sounds that constantly pull your attention. It rewards you with small hits of pleasure and quietly drains your discipline, clarity, and willpower. This force has a name: dopamine. But let's be clear, dopamine itself is not the problem. The danger lies in how we're using this substance, or better yet, how we're being used by it. We live in the age of fast consumption. Everything must be immediate, fast, effortless, short, shallow, and above all, addictive. Let me ask you something. With so much stimulus around you, how many times a day do you truly choose what to do? And how often do you just react? If you feel anxious without your phone, if you open several tabs to complete a single task, if you start things and get lost in the middle, if you're always busy but never really evolving, then this video is for you. My name is Napoleon Hill, and if I were alive today to observe this new era, I would say this: you are not failing because you lack ability. You are being sabotaged by an invisible program conditioning you to mediocrity. And in this video, I will show you how to break the cycle. We will dive deep into how dopamine has been hijacked by modern stimuli, how it's making us weaker, more anxious, and volatile, how to reclaim focus, clarity, and self-discipline, and how to build a life where you regain real control over your mind, your time, and your destiny. Because the truth is simple: either you master dopamine or you are mastered by it. Get ready. You are about to begin a journey of mental reconstruction, and you may never see the world the same way again. Welcome to the beginning of your transformation. Dopamine is the engine of human desire. It drives us to seek, to explore, to conquer. It is an essential part of our evolution. The problem is not dopamine, it's the artificial reward system we've been conditioned to. Today, we live in a stimulus factory, a society that has hijacked our biology to keep our eyes glued to screens, our fingers scrolling through infinite feeds, our minds held hostage by the next notification. And the most dangerous part, we think it's normal. Look around and you'll see it. People walking the streets like zombies, trapped in bubbles of distraction. Families sitting at the table, each lost in their own digital world. Students unable to focus for more than a few minutes. Adults in a constant state of mental exhaustion, even without physical effort. This isn't an individual flaw. It's a collective breakdown of attention. Neuroscience has proven every time you get a like, a new message, or a funny video, your brain releases dopamine. But the pleasure is short-lived, and the more you consume, the less sensitive you become to the same stimulus. It's the addiction cycle. Instant pleasure, quick reward, energy crash, craving more. It's like fueling a fire with straw. It flares up for a moment and quickly fades. Then you find yourself chasing more and more and more until your brain is trained to only respond to what's easy, fast, and immediate. The consequence: you lose the ability to delay gratification, to focus on long-term tasks, to persist without instant reward. You lose the mental strength that builds extraordinary results. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains that the issue isn't motivation, but the constant exposure to micro-rewards that rewire our action system. If everything you do is for fast pleasure, you'll never build anything great. Charles Duhigg, in The Power of Habit, shows that the brain constantly seeks triggers to conserve energy. Digital consumption is one of the easiest triggers, and so it becomes an automatic loop, the autopilot of mediocrity. Carol Dweck, in her research on mindset, reveals that people with a fixed mindset give up when faced with difficulty. And today, we are conditioned to ease. It's no surprise we have an entire generation avoiding discomfort at all costs. Daniel Kahneman, Nobel Prize winner, warns us, our brain prefers the path of least resistance, and the more we feed this pattern, the less we engage System 2, the rational, deep, strategic part of our thinking. We are literally turning off our capacity for deep thought. And worse, we believe this is the new normal. Nir Eyal, author of Hooked, describes in detail how major companies design products to make us dependent. Everything is carefully crafted to capture our attention. It's no accident. It's behavioral engineering. The fast consumption industry has understood one simple truth. The more distracted you are, the more vulnerable you become. And the more vulnerable, the more controllable. And when a mind is controllable, it loses ownership of its destiny. We are creating a generation that confuses pleasure with purpose, that trades meaning for stimulus, that seeks to be entertained at all times but no longer knows how to be truly fulfilled. This is not just an attention crisis, it's a crisis of identity. How many dreams have been buried because someone couldn't focus? How many brilliant ideas died before they were born due to lack of persistence? How many lives are being lived below their potential because the mind is too busy chasing the next distraction? Let me be direct. If you don't regain control of your dopamine, someone else will control it for you, and that someone has only one goal: to keep you trapped, doped, unproductive, and consuming. But there is a way out, and it begins with clarity. So, in the next few minutes, I'll show you how to rewire your brain to break this cycle, how to escape invisible addictions, how to build an internal and external environment that pushes you toward excellence, not distraction, because you were born with unlimited potential. But that potential requires focus, depth, persistence. You can live with energy, direction, and purpose. But first, you must see where you're being sabotaged. And that was the diagnosis. Before you can transform your mind, you must understand how it works and how it's being used against you. Dopamine is a vital neurotransmitter for learning, motivation, and action. It doesn't give us pleasure, it gives us desire. It's the system that says, go after this, discover that, explore more. It's the impulse of curiosity, growth, and progress. For millennia, this served us well. Dopamine drove us toward the hunt, the discovery of new lands, problem solving. It's the engine of civilization. But something changed. The modern world learned how to exploit this system. Technology began to offer artificial rewards, highly dopaminergic stimuli that are hollow. Today, with just a tap, you have access to a universe of effortless stimulation, hyper-palatable food, addictive content games with constant rewards, social media feeding your ego with every like. And what happens to the brain when it's repeatedly exposed to super intense stimuli? It adapts. It dulls its sensitivity and demands more and more to feel the same. It's the same principle as drug addiction, but in this case, the drug is behavioral. As Joe Dispenza teaches, we become addicted to being who we are. We repeat patterns because our body gets used to the chemical states we generate. You start your day checking notifications, feel a slight excitement, dopamine. Later, you open a video, more dopamine, eat something sweet, scroll the feed, reply to messages, more and more stimulation. By the end of the day, your mind is exhausted, but your body is in withdrawal. And what do? You seek even more stimulus to fill the void. It's not a lack of willpower. It's a neurochemical system that's been conditioned to chase instant relief. Napoleon Hill once said, "The man who masters his impulses is greater than he who conquers a city." To master your impulses is to master dopamine. Gary Keller in The One Thing reminds us that focus isn't about saying yes to what matters, it's about saying no to hundreds of other things that seem urgent but are meaningless. Uncontrolled dopamine is a thief of focus. It fragments your attention, scatters your energy, and turns you into a reactive person. And a reactive person can never be a builder. They're always a slave to circumstance. Philosopher Viktor Frankl taught that between stimulus and response, there is a space, and in that space lies our power to choose. But modern overstimulation is shrinking that space. We are becoming automatons, conditioned to react without reflection. And when we lose the ability to reflect, we lose the ability to choose. And without conscious choice, there is no transformation. Christopher Vogler, in The Writer's Journey, speaks of the moment when the hero crosses the threshold. They leave the ordinary world and enter the unknown. They face trials, temptations, ordeals. Only then do they find their inner truth. You are at that point now. Your mind, addicted to stimulus, will resist. It will make excuses. It will want to retreat to comfort. But don't be fooled. Everything keeping you in the loop of easy dopamine is keeping you far from your greatness. Discipline is the new superpower, and only those who master the dopamine cycle can wield it freely. Robert McKee teaches that great stories are driven by conflict. The hero grows by facing opposing forces. Today, the biggest villain in your story might be in your pocket. It's the phone that never stops buzzing. It's the button that opens endless portals of distraction. But the hero you are is ready to win that battle. And it begins with a crucial understanding. You don't need more stimulus. You need more clarity, more direction, more presence. Dopamine is not your enemy. It is raw energy. And like any power, it needs to be channeled. When you learn to direct that power toward meaningful goals, you become unstoppable. And that is the foundation of transformation. You've understood the diagnosis, you've grasped the mechanism. Now comes the most important moment, turning knowledge into action. Let's reprogram your dopaminergic system. But this isn't done by brute force. It's done with awareness, strategy, and consistency. The first step is a dopamine fast, but forget the extremes. You don't need to become a monk or throw away your phone. What you need is an intentional reset. Choose a 24 to 72-hour period to disconnect from superficial stimuli. No social media, no short videos, no junk food, no passive entertainment, just silence, deep reading, journaling, meditation, walking. The goal is not punishment, it's to restore your natural sensitivity to real pleasure, to allow your brain to respond again to deep, not just intense stimuli. During this time, track how you feel, what impulses arise, what discomforts appear. This awareness is gold. According to James Clear, behavior change doesn't happen through motivation. It happens through environment. That's why the second step is to create a focus environment. Reorganize your devices. Remove addictive apps from your home screen. Disable non-urgent notifications. Use website blockers during deep work hours. In your physical space, eliminate visual clutter. A clean desk promotes mental clarity. A dark, electronics-free bedroom improves sleep quality, and sleep regulates your dopamine levels. Your environment signals to your brain what matters. Third step, replace stimulation with meaning. Dopamine can't be turned off, but it can be redirected. Choose a goal that requires consistent effort. It could be learning something new, building a project, developing a skill. Break that goal into daily micro wins and track your progress. Each small achievement healthily recharges your dopamine. You're training your brain to seek reward in building, not in distraction. Charles Duhigg calls this the healthy habit loop: conscious cue, powerful routine, real reward. Example: cue, waking up routine, 10 minutes of deep reading. Reward, writing down one actionable insight for the day. This cycle creates purpose, and purpose creates power. Fourth step, move your body to rewire your mind. Dopamine isn't only triggered by mental pleasure, it's also activated through physical action. Do daily exercise, even if it's just 20 minutes of intentional walking. Movement releases dopamine in a balanced, constructive way. Active meditation, like mindful walking, is also powerful. While walking, notice your breath. Observe your thoughts. Pay attention to your surroundings. This simple act of presence strengthens your prefrontal cortex, the region responsible for focus, decision-making, and self-control. Fifth step, establish rituals of depth. In a world of fast consumption, depth is a revolution. Choose at least one moment of your day to dive in without distraction. No phone nearby, no multitasking, just you, a book, a meaningful task, or a moment of reflection. This depth training will expand your capacity to concentrate. It will train you to resist the lure of the superficial, and that's a rare and powerful skill. Sixth step, reinforce your identity daily. It's not enough to change your behavior. You must change who you believe you are. Every morning declare, I own my attention. I cultivate my focus. I direct my energy toward what builds. I master dopamine. I'm not mastered by it. These affirmations, repeated with intention, reshape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your behavior. Napoleon Hill said, what the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. But before achieving, you must internalize. You are not an addict. You are a powerful being, simply misconditioned. and now you're reclaiming control of your mind. Joe Dispenza teaches that when you break the habit of being yourself, you give your brain permission to create a new identity, an identity that lives not for the next like, but for the next level of evolution. Change is not magic, it's construction. But if you apply these 6 steps for 30 days, something inside you will shift and you will feel it. More clarity, more energy, more purpose, and more mastery. Because in the end, the power was always in your hands. It was just being misdirected. Real change doesn't happen at the moment of decision. It happens in repetition. You've already started your mental reconstruction. Now you must shield that transformation because the environment will try to pull you back. The culture of fast consumption won't leave you alone. It will tempt you, distract you, seduce you. So it's time to strengthen your internal defenses. First, daily awareness. Every morning, ask yourself, what will try to steal my focus today? Anticipate the saboteurs and prepare to face them with intention. Second, self control rituals. Before opening your phone, do something that nourishes your mind. Breathe deeply, read, write, meditate. The first victory of the day sets the tone for all others. Third, celebrate invisible progress. Not all growth is visible to the eye, but every time you resist an impulse, every time you choose focus over distraction, you are reprogramming your brain. Shielding is not about rigidity, it's about quiet consistency. Imagine your brain as a muscle. Every conscious choice is a representative, and the more you practice, the stronger your mind becomes. Eugene Schwartz taught that great messages are built on what already exists in the mind of the audience. Likewise, great identities are built on small habits already alive within you. So protect what you're building, create emotional anchors for new behaviors. Example, every time you finish a deep focus session, give thanks. Every time you resist the temptation to grab your phone, affirm internally, I am the master of my attention. This self affirmation generates internal pleasure. You begin to associate power with discipline. Drew Eric Whitman showed that the brain responds more to emotional reinforcement than to logic. In other words, shielding change means building a system of positive emotional reinforcement. And never forget, you're not fighting your phone, you're fighting a globalized, billion-dollar, strategically engineered distraction system. But what they don't have is you aware. The very fact that you're here now listening to this already places you on a higher level of consciousness. You know too much to go back. Robert McKee said that a great character is defined by the decisions they make under pressure. Life will test you, but every decision is a declaration of identity. If you choose depth, clarity, construction, you are shielding your new identity, and that identity will protect you even on difficult days. Because there will be relapses. That's part of it. But what matters is not falling. It's how quickly you rise. It's remembering who you chose to become. It's not allowing a slip to define you. It's knowing that every day is a new beginning. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be steadfast, steadfast in purpose, steadfast in intention, steadfast in your commitment to your best self. And remember, you are creating a mental legacy. You are shaping neural pathways that your children, students, colleagues, and followers will observe. Your quiet example will inspire more than any speech, because a focused mind is a mind that shines. You made it this far. And that says everything. It means there's a spark inside you, a real desire to break free from the shallow and dive into what truly transforms. Today, you've seen something most never will. You don't need more stimulation. You need more presence, more purpose, more direction. And dopamine, from now on, is your ally. You are no longer at the mercy of algorithms. You are the author of your story. You are reclaiming what was always yours, your focus, your energy, your greatness. But remember, transformation is sustained through continuity. So if this content moved you, if it awakened something real inside you, then follow me now, not just with a click, but as a silent pact that you are ready to keep evolving with consistency, with power, with clarity. And if you want to keep going right now, I recommend 2 powerful next steps. Watch. 5 success habits that created millionaires for generations, and discover how simple habits, applied with mastery, build mental and financial empires. Or dive into how to build the right habits without willpower or motivation, a direct guide to forming deep habits, even on the hardest days. Don't stop here. You've already crossed the first threshold, and on the other side is your new self. Follow, evolve, dominate. See you in the next video.